Iowa Boys State High School Basketball Tournament. It's brought to you by the Iowa Bankers Association, State Farm Insurance, Fairway Stores, and by Gel. Just eliminate lies.
The Iowa Boys High School State Basketball Tournament is brought to you in part by Balance Pro Corn Herbicide. Balance Pro, the power of recharge. By Papa John's Pizza, better ingredients, better pizza. And by Ford. See your local Ford store today.
To be followed by game number 2, Sioux City East against the upset-minded Ankeny Hawks, the team that knocked Mason City out of the tournament. We welcome you to Veterans Auditorium. Larry Morgan and Jim Hallahan, glad to be with you. And in this first game, Jim, we have a game of really contrasting offensive styles.
Yeah, you have Waterloo East, who really likes to get up and down the floor, and you have Iowa City West, who says, we don't want you to do that. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, a game I'm really excited about seeing, one of the biggest games of the tournament.
Well, it's not the first time these two teams have met, because they played back in early December. On that game, Iowa City West went to Waterloo East and won at 64-62, but Steve McGraw would tell you that his Trojan team is much better now.
Well, you know, they were young when they were here last year as freshmen and sophomores. They were young in that game. Now they've come of age, and I think they're a pretty mature team.
Let's take a closer look at Waterloo East, and they are a team that really likes to get up and down the court and they like to pressure on defense.
Well, you know, you have Mike Henderson, who's just been an outstanding player for him for a couple years, and you think these kids should be all seniors, but they played so long. He's a heck of an athlete. He's a guy they go to in clutch situations. He's a very explosive player and really is able to key in their defense and start the fast break going for him.
And of course, he is headed for Iowa State, even though he is only a junior. He's already committed. His running mate, Jeremy Cook's the leading scorer for Waterloo East.
It's always good to have a guy that's kind of quiet, but he's your leading scorer. When everything else is going on, this guy consistently gets it done. Every day in practice, he's a warrior. He plays hard, and he really works hard, and he sets a tone for the team.
Iowa City West is the team trying to accomplish something no 4A team has done since Mason City did it with Dean Oliver in '97, and that's run the table without a loss in 4A. They come in today at 24-0, and they are a team, unlike Waterloo East, that's full of veterans and full of seniors.
Yeah, that's a good team. Steve Bergman does a great job, just like Steve McGraw does at East, and they are a veteran team. Of course, they have a little injury problem here in the tournament. That's going to play a big part in this game, I think.
We will get to that in a moment, but first of all, let's take a look at their leading scorer, number 2 all-time to Glenn Worley, and that says a lot at Waterloo West, talking about James Ebert.
James Ebert's an outstanding player. He's a terrific shooter. He can get it off quickly. You know, some people think he's one of the best, if not the best player in the state. And he's just had a great year for them, just a great year.
Yes, he has, and in fact, he has the single season most points in Waterloo, or rather in Iowa City West history. Well, Worley's the career scorer. Now, the health of Justin Wick, that's really the big question mark for Iowa City West this afternoon.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want tournament time is have somebody injured, and he hurt his ankle the other day early in the Muscatine game and was questionable. Warm-ups, he looks pretty good, but it's going to be a test for him today. This is going to be a very intense game. They need him in the game for probably 32 minutes.
And you said this will be a game of controlling tempo. The question is, how do you control tempo?
Well, I think if you're Iowa City West, you've got to play strong defense and rebound the ball, and you got to go to the offensive boards. You got to get some offensive rebounds, because if you let East get to defensive boards and take off, by having patience, which is what Iowa City West is all about, that usually takes care of that. So it'll be interesting if they can stay patient against great pressure defense and not let the other team fast break.
Well, it's the youth of Waterloo East against the veterans from Iowa City West. It should be a great matchup. Plenty of other things go on around Veterans Auditorium, and to cover those for us, and he's a new member to our crew. We welcome him this year. Come on in, Kevin Hall.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. This is really going to be a great basketball game. I've gotten the chance to see both of these teams play this week. Two very contrasting styles, as you mentioned. Iowa City West, undefeated on the season. They play great team defense. James Ebert, an outstanding shooter, possibly the best shooter in the entire Boys State tournament. In fact, Iowa City West has defeated 4 teams that reached the state tournament in Class 4A and in 3A. So they have a lot of experience against tournament teams. This is going to be a great basketball game. But not only are we just going to bring you the basketball games, we're going to take you around Vets Auditorium. You know, one of the great things about the state tournament is the community involvement, and all the teams here receive great support from their communities. We're going to take you in the stands, meet some of the fans. We're also going to visit with several special guests this week. It's going to be a great weekend of basketball. We'll have the entire semifinals and finals for you right here. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back from Vets Auditorium. The semifinal game between Waterloo East and Iowa City West is coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
Yes, we are.
Welcome back to Vets Auditorium, and we are getting ready for the Class 4A semifinal game between the undefeated Iowa City West Trojans and a very talented Waterloo East Trojan team. Both of these teams extremely talented. Iowa City West with a victory over Waterloo East early in the season. Both teams have several college prospects on their roster. This is going to be a great basketball game. Really, I think one of the more exciting games of this entire basketball tournament. Two contrasting styles. Iowa City West, you have to watch out for James Ebert. He's gotten 2 thumbs up from all the reviewers this season so far, possibly the best player in the entire state. This is going to be really a fun basketball game to watch. And folks, you're going to want to stay tuned for this one for sure. Waterloo East can run up and down the floor as well as any team around. Iowa City West plays great team defense. So 2 very contrasting styles that should make for a very exciting high school basketball game. Right now, we're going to go to Jim Hallahan, who is standing by with a very special guest.
Back to you. Here we go.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Well, we have a big afternoon of basketball ahead in this 4A semifinal round of the Boys State High School Basketball Tournament. Waterloo East and Iowa City West getting ready to go in game number 1, followed by Sioux City East and the Ankeny Hawks in game number 2. And you see the West faithful from Iowa City West. They've had a lot to cheer about this year as their team has gone 24-0. They won the Mississippi Valley Conference, and Steve Bergman has won titles here in the even-numbered years. He won in '98, he won in 2000. This is 2002, as he said earlier, every other year, and he's hoping that the trend will continue today. Waterloo East coming in with a 21-3 record. They were the second-place team in the Mississippi Valley Conference, and again, one of their losses this year, one of their 3 losses, came at the hands of Iowa City West, 64-62 back in early December. It's a basketball team that has also lost to Sioux City East, another of the state tournament participants, 65-60, and to another 4A quarterfinalist, Dubuque Wahlert, 83-69. So Steve McGraw took his young team, and he was able to play a very tough schedule, and that's why they have achieved what they have achieved this year. We take a look at the tournament results, and we look at Iowa City West, and as you see, the road for Steve Bergman's team has been a rather easy road with a lopsided victory over Oskaloosa. They beat their city rival City High in Iowa City by 17 points and then hammered Muscatine the other day, 55-33. James Ebert got 31 points in that ballgame. As a team, Iowa City West hit 9 of 14 threes. And the Trojan fans, they too have had a lot to cheer about this year at Waterloo East with a record of 21-3. You take a look at how they have arrived at this moment. In the sub-state, it was a lopsided win over Cedar Rapids Kennedy and another easy margin over Cedar Rapids Washington. And then came the game here at state against Dubuque Wahlert. They led by only 2 at the half in that ball game, but as you see, had a big second half. Shot 53% for the ball game and won by 10. Carlton Reed, a talented sophomore, who will get a look out today for Waterloo East, led them in scoring on that occasion with 21 points. So that's the story on Waterloo East under their veteran coach Steve McGraw. We're just moments away from tip-off. It is 4A semifinal game. The winner goes against the winner of the game coming up next between Ankeny and Sioux City East for the right to win a state championship. Waterloo East is a team that, as Jim told you, likes to get it up and down. Iowa City West is a team that likes to exhibit patience. A contrast in styles, Jim Hallahan, as we get ready for this 4A semifinal.
Contrasting styles, but they both are disciplined. You know, you can run and still be disciplined. I know Coach McGraw wants good shots. He wants, you know, he doesn't want sloppy passes. They want to score and they want to get up and down the floor, but they are going to do a good job once they set up in running a good offense and look for the high percentage shot also.
And so that's really the story of this ballgame, and it's what we're going to be keeping our eye on throughout the ballgame. And of course, the other factor is the youth of Waterloo East, as you talked about earlier, with no senior starters, and the veteran, experienced Iowa City West team of all senior starters.
You know what, though, that youth we talked about, I come to the girls tournament last week, and Ankeny wins with 2 freshman starters against a veteran Waterloo West team. I think by the time you get to the state tournament, particularly this East team who played together last year, this is a veteran team, and if you look at, they look very confident. They're going to play very well today.
Waterloo East in their 20th state tournament. They have won 19 and lost 18 in state tournament play. They've won titles in 74 and in 90, and it had 6 other Final Four finishes in the 90s. Steve McGraw has brought this Waterloo East team to state no less than 7 times, and here they are once again in the year 2002 as they were last year when they lost in the quarterfinals to the eventual champion, Dinola, 61-45. And you know, we talk about experience. If they're young now with 4 juniors and 1 sophomore, that was even a younger team that lost in the quarterfinals last year with 4 sophomores and a freshman starter in Carlton Reed.
And that was evident last year. You know, they played a very good veteran team. I think it was Urbandale that beat them.
Correct.
And seniors, and I think they learned a lot from that game. And that's what you hope you can learn and then come back the next year and take advantage of the things you've learned.
As far as the ratings, Iowa City West, #1 in the Associated Press poll, #2 in the Des Moines Register poll to Sioux City East, and they were seeded #1 going into this tournament. For Waterloo East, they finished 4th in the Des Moines Register poll, 5th in the Associated Press poll. They are the 4th seed. So it's the top seed, Iowa City West, and the #4 seed, Waterloo East, and it is time to meet the starters. Let's go to the floor and Father Craig Collison.
It's time for basketball. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Vets Auditorium and the 2002 State Basketball Tournament. This semifinal round contest in Class 4A features the Trojans of Waterloo East and the Trojans of Iowa City West. Let's meet the assistant coaches and non-starters of both schools. For Waterloo East, #1, Tremone Thomas. #11, Tyrone Scott Jr. #15, Brianne McCoo. #20, Ramon Turner. #21, Roderick Bruce. #23, Matt Gilbert. #35, McQuan McCoo. #40, Scott Mangin. #50, Jerry Bennett. And #55, Travis Ferguson. The assistant coaches of the Trojans, Mr. Brian Jones, Mr. Carlos Frazier, and Mr. Ed Madlock. Here are the non-starters for Iowa City West. #00, Devin Dickel. #5, Ben Nichols. #10, Jordan Bontrager. #12, Kevin Hunter. #23, Gordon Klein. #24, Tyler Mead. #30, Mike Scheib. #40, Justin Ebert. #42, Rich Thompson. #44, Justin Harbit. The assistant coaches of Iowa City West, Mr. Nate Freeze, Mr. Randy Larson, and Mr. Mike Bevilacqua. And now, here are your starting lineups for the 21-3 Trojans of Waterloo East and the 24-0 Trojans of Iowa City West. For Waterloo East, a 6'4" sophomore, #33, Carlton Reed. For Iowa City West, a 6'2" senior, #14, James Ebert. For Waterloo East, a 6'3" junior, number 3, Mylan Moses. For Iowa City West, a 6'2" senior, number 20, Brett Baumgart. For Waterloo East, a 6'6" senior, number 4, Freyshawn McGee. For Iowa City West, a 6'6" senior, number 32, Justin Wick. For Waterloo East, a 6'3" junior, number 5, Mike Henderson. For Iowa City West, a 6'2" senior, number 34, Chris Saylor. For Waterloo East, a 6'3" junior, number 2, Jeremy Cook. For Iowa City West, a 6'1" senior, number 22, Carl Warner. The head coach of the Waterloo East Trojans, Mr. Steve McGraw, and the head coach of the Iowa City West Trojans, Mr. Steve Berkman. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce the officials assigned to this contest by the Iowa High School Athletic Association. The referee, Mr. Tim McCann of Davenport. The umpire, Mr. Rod Hill of Bettendorf. And the bench official, Mr. Niels Johnson of Ames. And now, let's play basketball.
And the 4A semifinal about to get underway between the Trojans, the Waterloo East Trojans, and the Iowa City West Trojans. Jim, time to take a look at our keys to the game.
Well, obviously with Waterloo East, they got to stop Ebert. He's had a great year. He's one of the leading scorers in the state. They want to speed up the tempo of the game and get some easy baskets, and in do so, enforce mistakes and turnovers.
And
for
West
yeah, the Trojans, right? They got to have patience on offense as always, control the tempo of the game, and make sure the role players play their role and their scorers score the points for them.
Wick and Moses to jump center. The referee, Tim McCann, to toss the ball up. And the 4A semifinals in the 2002 state tournament are underway. And dressed in white, trimmed in green, it is Iowa City West with the ball to start the ball game. And again, they will be patient on offense. They average about 58 points a game.
Man-to-man defense by East. They always have been very well schooled in their defensive fundamentals. I think there'll be a little more pressure on Ebert in this game, though, than normal.
Again, Ebert wears number 14. He averages 22 points a game. He's the one to keep your eyes on. Wick goes baseline, and he gets fouled.
There was maybe an indication, and maybe his ankle isn't 100% when he went to, he didn't really explode on that play. I know he got fouled, but he's going to have to be able to really get up against this team and show some explosion. That time he struggled a little bit, either balance or his ankle.
Mylan Moses with the game's first foul as Justin Wick goes to the free throw line and scores the first point in this afternoon's game. Wick is such a key factor for West. He averages 16 points and 7 rebounds. He's an 80% free throw shooter. They definitely want him on the floor. He also can step out and hit the three. He goes 1 of 2 on the line, and it is Iowa City West with a 1-0 lead, and East with the ball on offense for the first time. It's Moses on the pull-up off to the left, and the rebound taken by Brett Baumgart for Iowa City West.
Well, they got a real good shot, but it was a pretty quick shot.
34 is Chris Saylor. He's more of a defensive player, but he averages 4 points a game offensively.
I don't know if they're going to switch different people. Looks like they're switching a little more on defense. Therefore, no one's really assigned Ebert. Kind of move around depending on where he comes off screens.
Freyshawn McGee's got him now. Ebert tries to take him inside, and the foul is called on Freyshawn McGee, and that'll be the second early foul against Waterloo East.
Yeah, they had the switching, and Ebert got a bigger guy on him, and he got around him and caused a foul there. Shows his explosiveness in terms of getting to the basket.
Ebert, a 31-point performance against Muscatine in this tournament when he hit 11 of 16 shots from the field, including 4 threes. He knocks down the free throw, and it's a 2-0 ball game.
Doesn't hurt to have an 83% free throw shooter on the free throw line early in the game, too. Boy, he's a great shooter.
Not at all. He was 5 of 6 the other day in the quarterfinals, 2 of 2 this afternoon. And only on free throws, Waterloo East finds themselves down by a count of 3-0 as they attack to the basket to the left. The penetration by Henderson. Inside it's McGee losing it. And it is run down by Brett Baumgart for Iowa City West.
Great team defense in the zone. They actually took the ball away from him, collapsed inside. That's what they do.
We told you Wick can hit threes. He's not only an inside player, he's a three-point shooter. He had 22 in the regular season. It's the first basket of the ball game. It's 6-0 in favor of Iowa City West.
Well, that's going to help his confidence, getting an early score like that. It makes you feel better, makes your foot feel better, too.
And you got a 6'6" player that can step out and hit the three. It's a tough matchup. Henderson baseline banks it in for Waterloo East. The first basket of the ball game for the Waterloo East Trojans, and it's the leading scorer, their second leading scorer, Mike Henderson, who gets it.
Showed a little of his explosiveness and yet the ability to get on balance at the end of the play and made a nice shot. Made it look easy at the end, but it was a tough move.
Number 22 is Carl Warner. And again, the man they're trying to get the ball to is James Ebert, and he's been well defended early by the Trojans. That is Ebert with the ball there. Putting it to the floor, Saylor. Again, one of the things they do very well is what they're doing right now, Jim, and that's being very patient offensively.
You know, in watching college game, you get that sense that the shot clock's going down. In high school, they don't have the shot clock, so these kids don't feel any pressure if they pass the ball 10, 15, 20 times.
No, they don't. Out of the corner, 4-3. The shot is down by Carl Warner. Quick start for Iowa City West. It is a 9-2 ball game. And the answer at the other end, it's knocked home from long range.
Wow.
Jeremy Cook connects for the Waterloo East Trojans. 9-5 is the score.
Another quick shot, but boy, he made that. That was at the NBA three-point line, I believe.
Here's Ebert trying to shake Cook.
Good steal. Cook knocked it away.
The drive and the jam by McGee, and he is fouled to the way in.
There's Waterloo East. You know, turnover, fast break, convert it or be fouled.
So Carlton McGee will go to the line after this drive, which starts with a steal and finishes this way.
Yeah, the real play was at the other end on the steal, but he keeps good body control, gets fouled, and almost completes the basket. It's tough when you get knocked on the arms and make that lay-in.
So the foul goes against Warner. The free throw by McGee is good. Carlton McGee against Dubuque Wahlert, 21 points, 8 out of 12 from the floor, also had 4 assists, and really raised some eyebrows around here. By converting on those free throws, he makes it a 9-7 ball game. From the top of Veterans Auditorium, you get this look. Baumgart struggling outside against Henderson, who is a good defensive player. And now Henderson paired off against Ebert.
Little matchup zone here by Waterloo.
Wick finds Ebert. Matchup zone sometimes tough for offenses to identify.
Yeah, it sure is, because it looks like a man-to-man sometimes, and then they may follow a cutter through, shift a little bit. They do such a good job of reacting to the ball.
Baumgart, good job on the baseline to find the open player. But Warner unable to finish it, and coming up is Waterloo East with a chance to tie it with a 2, but the takeaway by Wick. He went to the floor there as if the ankle didn't bother him at all. Ebert penetrating and missing high off the glass, and Henderson has the rebound, and he gets fouled.
Boy, speaking high off the glass, Henderson was really up there for that rebound. When the shot first came off, I thought that was McGee, the 6'6" player, but that was Henderson. Great job.
Steve Bergman in his 12th year at Iowa City West, trying to become only the 10th coach in state tournament history to win more than 2 state championships. Steve McGraw on the Waterloo East bench is the 6th all-time winningest active coach here in the state.
These are 2 great coaches, been here a lot, and it's no secret why they get here. They're outstanding coaches, and their kids believe in what they do.
Nice feed underneath. The crashing up the baseline to score is Brianne McCoo, who just came in off the bench, and he scores off the bench for the Trojans. So after finding themselves down 9-2, 7 unanswered points by Waterloo East to tie the ball game at 9.
This is a great league they play over there. These teams play good teams every time out, and of course they played each other once early in the year, so they're both somewhat familiar with each other, but when you get state tournaments, it's a little different.
Great ball movement. Results in the basket by Justin Wick. Jim, they really picked apart the matchup that time.
They got the ball to the corner, made the zone completely shift to one side, and then slipped Wick down the middle and got an easy lay-in.
Waterloo tries to tie, and McCoo does just that. Brianne McKee on the turnaround.
They said, well, we'll do that too then. We'll take it inside and lay it in on you at the other end.
This will be, we mentioned, a contrast in styles and also an interesting chess match between the coaches today.
And no question, the coaches are a lot alike in the discipline they have, but they approach it a little differently with the up-tempo for East, who wants to run, and West, I bet you, though, West will take advantage of an easy basket when they get it, but if they don't, you're going to see them do this right here. They're going to move the ball, try to find the open man, get the defense to let up, and then make the open shot.
This is Baumgart looking in against the zone. Now Ebert. In the corner, it's Chris Saylor.
Then this is just the way Iowa City likes it. If you look at their team shooting, they shot almost 50% as a team. That means they're getting a lot of good shots.
Again, they kick it on the baseline, nothing there, so they find Wick. He penetrates the paint and misses the shot with McGee providing the defense, and the rebound is taken down by Brian McCoo. So Waterloo East has a chance to take their first lead of the afternoon. Cook will do that.
Wow.
A three by Jeremy Cook. His second three is the first lead for Waterloo East.
Almost the same spot, and it was so far out, the defense could not get to him to put pressure on the shot.
And we have a timeout on the court with 2:05 left to play in the first quarter. And our score, Waterloo East 14 and Iowa City West 11. We'll be right back. We welcome you back to Veterans Auditorium. Larry Morgan and Jim Hallahan, glad that you've joined us for this 4A semifinal game. The shooting percentages early in the ball game are a little bit deceiving because Waterloo East actually has the lead of 3.
Well, both teams have played very well. I mean, if you want to be each coach, you got to be satisfied with the way your teams are playing right now. You know, Ebert hasn't had a big start, although Rick has been very good.
And again, Ebert, number 14, the player that they will depend on. He's got the ball now. There's Baumgart. Into the lineup is Jordan Bontrager, number 10 at the timeout situation. And a nice feed inside to Wick. And Justin Wick, bad ankle and all, with an 8-point first quarter. And it's a 1-point ball game. Waterloo East has the ball and the lead at 14-13. The three won't go, barely grazing the iron by McGee. Long rebound comes to Wick. And he's fouled and will go to the line with a foul on Krishan McGee.
That's what I talked about earlier. West will run. They're an opportunistic team. They got the long rebound and got it out on a quick shot and had a chance to convert right here. Gets fouled, has 2 free throws.
Well, the most questionable guy, because of his health, was this guy with the bad ankle, and he's only got 8 points here in the first quarter.
Maybe we should sprain our ankle a little bit. Maybe we'll do better, too.
You think they could help our shooting? I don't know.
He's really done a good job of finding the openings in the middle of the zone. As the ball's reversed to the baseline, he's beating the inside middle player to the block, and basically he's getting layups down there.
And he's shown why he's so valuable, because he's already scored inside and outside.
Right.
Henderson back into the lineup for Waterloo East, and also coming back in is Mylan Moses. 2 starters come back for Steve McGraw.
When you got your 2 best players who shoot 80% from the free throw line, that's why you win a lot of close games, too. They get on the free throw line late in the game, and they make those shots. That's just great free throw shooting.
Wick has missed 2 of his first 3, but he knocks that one down. He has a 9-point quarter, and he ties the ball game at 14 with 1:15 left in the first half.
More Thomas at the point now. The little guy there got a little mixed up on that first play. See if he settles down a little bit now.
He is a good backup point guard, though. Henderson working, now back to Thomas. Thomas, 5'7", 150-pound junior. Really no more for his defense. Henderson spins into the lane and has it blocked. Good defensive effort by Brett Baumgart, and the jump ball is forced. So Baumgart getting high in the air to block the shot.
Yeah, both Saylor and Baumgart, you know, they listed at 6'2", but I'll tell you what, they're strong rebounders, good jumpers and good physical players.
This presentation of the Iowa State High School Basketball Tournament is a copyrighted telecast of Sinclair Broadcasting Corporation and the Iowa High School Athletic Association. All rights are reserved.
3, 4.
Possession arrow favoring Waterloo East, so they've got the ball in a game that's tied. Final minute, first quarter. The penetration by McGee, and the basket by Carlton McGee. Reed, I should say, Carlton Reed. And it's a 16-14 ball game. Ebert at the other end answers with his first bucket for Iowa City West. The ball game is now tied up at 16.
Well, you got to sample there how quick he gets that shot off. It was a very difficult move, and he turned and shot it almost simultaneously as he turned.
Bontrager rebounding the Reed miss. The penetration by Baumgart. Here is Ebert for 3. And the rebound run down by Waterloo East. McCoo coming up with the rebound, and here comes the Waterloo East Trojans. Henderson all the way, and from behind, a block attempt, but a foul spotted as well on Brett Baumgart.
Might have saved Henderson a charge there because of the reach-in. After the reach-in occurred, I think he might have charged over Wick, but good deal for Henderson.
It is the third team foul called against Iowa City West. Waterloo East also with 3 team fouls. And Mike Henderson headed for Iowa State after 1 more year in high school. He committed early. He's only a junior now. Knocks down the free throw. Into the lineup for West comes Ben Nichols, a 6'1 senior. Averages about 2 points a ball game, but hit a couple of big threes against Muscatine in the quarterfinals.
Well, you know that any of these kids that come in the game for West are probably very sound shooters. They do a great job in coaching their shooters there.
And the 2 free throws by Henderson gives Waterloo East an 18-16 lead with 7.5 seconds left in the first quarter. Ebert on the spin move. They'll want it in his hands for the last shot of the quarter. The follow shot is up, and it won't go.
Oh, wow.
Started to spin out. It came back down. Ben Nichols gets the 2, and it's a 2-point ball game at the end of a quarter. At the end of the first quarter, with the score, Waterloo East 18 and Iowa City West 16. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment. We welcome you back to Veterans Auditorium. A great ball game at the end of a quarter. Tied 5 different times. Tied last at 18 on the Ben Nichols follow of the James Ebert miss. Now it's time for our fans in the stands. Let's go downstairs to Kevin Hall.
All right, it's time for our Fairway Fan in the Stand segment. We're here in the Iowa City West cheering section. What's your name, man?
I'm Justin.
And you're obviously a student at Iowa City West. What year are you?
Yeah.
How you feel about how they're doing so far? Tied at 18 right now.
It's a good game. The first game was just as close the whole way through. We're doing all right.
What is this, your real hair or is this a wig?
Yeah, this is my real. I just grew it out, and no, it's a wig.
All right, Justin, thanks a lot. We got a nice gift bag here for you, courtesy of Fairway. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Kevin. Second quarter is underway. With the basketball is Jordan Bontrager for Iowa City West in a ball game that is tied up at 18.
Maybe I need to get some of that stuff that guy got on his hair. It grew like that.
Well, it grew, didn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you like the shade, but at least it grew.
I'd take green.
I think green would look real good on Jim
Match my
Hallahan.
eyes.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
This is Wick at the high post. Takes it right to the rack and scores his 11th point of the first half.
You know, amazing thing about his zone's supposed to keep the ball from going inside. And yet this is where they scored all their baskets practically, is inside.
But a quick answer by Mike Henderson, and the ball game is tied up at 20. Here's Ebert on the penetration. Both teams are really doing what they do well, and yet neither team has an advantage. I mean, Waterloo East is scoring quickly. Iowa City West is scoring with patience, and yet the ball game is still tied. So nobody's established any dominance. They're both playing their style. Here's Wick taking it to the rack, losing it, getting it back, and then getting fouled.
But again, he's getting that ball inside. And boy, this is a great move right here on this replay.
Yes, it was.
Quick, they scored so quick I blinked and didn't see it that time.
Brian McCoo with a foul for Waterloo East, sending Wick to the free throw line. He's already shot 4 free throws this afternoon, now 5, and he has hit 3 of the 5. And what a ball game he has. He already has 12 points, and we're just underway in the second period.
Well, you can see why Coach Bergman said he better play today. He needed him. You take his points off this, they'd be in trouble right now.
His season high, 27 earlier this year. But he already has a 13-point first half. From outside, the shot won't go by Jeremy Cook, and the long rebound is out of bounds, and it belongs to Iowa City West. So West with the basketball and a 2-point lead.
Boy, it's just amazing how quick East shoots the ball against a set defense. I kind of thought they'd move it a little bit more. But boy, they have a lot of confidence in their shots, and they've been shooting the ball pretty well.
Bontrager, top of the circle. Bontrager open, pulls the trigger on a 3, and the rebound is cleared by Waterloo East, Mylan Moses. Here's Henderson at the point. This is Carlton Reed, the talented sophomore, coming off a 21-point game in the quarterfinals against Dubuque Wahlert.
These kids play so much basketball that even though they're only sophomores and juniors, they probably played more games than I did as a senior in high school.
Great feed, Cook to Moses for the basket for Waterloo East and a foul. The basket will count and a chance at a 3-point play.
Again, here's Jeremy Cook, who's made a couple big threes. He goes up like he's going to shoot it. Everybody turns their head, and he finds the open man inside. and hits Mylan Moses, who's a brother, I believe, of J.J. Moses, a great running back at Iowa State that just graduated a year or so ago.
That's right, and spent some time in Kansas City on the reserve unit for the Kansas City Chiefs and still has a very bright pro future ahead of him. Mylan Moses knocks down the free throw. That gives him 3 points in the ball game and makes it a 23-22 Waterloo East lead. This is Brett Baumgart coming back in for Waterloo for Iowa City West. Iowa City West with the basketball, down by 1.
One thing that happens when they do extend their zone out like this to put pressure on the perimeter people like there are, that's why that ball's been able to get inside the wicket a little more. Most zones will pack it in, but you can't do that against a great shooting team like West.
Justin Harbert is coming to the lineup. He's got the ball there. He has it stepped back by Cook, and here comes Waterloo East trying to extend their 1-point lead. 5:47 left to play in the second quarter of the first 4A semifinal game. Up top, Henderson coming off the pick by Reed. Now Cook trying to break down this very patient defense. It really plays very solid defense for Iowa City West, and that time it results in a turnover as Carl Warner comes back into the lineup for Iowa City West, and he will replace Ben Nichols.
That was almost a great play. Made a good bounce pass inside, just a little bit. Just didn't quite catch it. Boy, a good look inside, though.
Iowa City West tries to regain the lead. Ebert right in the middle to Wick. They're doing a great job finding him. That time he couldn't finish. And the long rebound comes out to McCoo. Make it to Reed. Reed goes baseline. Reed all the way. Nice move. Hits the shot. Gets the foul. Carlton Reed with a 6-point ball game. And you can see why so many college coaches think he'll grow a couple of inches and be an outstanding college prospect.
Here he is again. He gets by his man and really gets under control. And look, you see him watch the basket all the way, even though he got hit. Kept his eye on that basket. That's a good lesson for young kids. Watch the rim. That's where you want the ball to go. Here he comes in here hard. Gets the hit. Looks it all the way. Continues to look at it even as it drops through the basket. Good concentration.
First foul called on Ebert. Iowa City West now with 5. As the free throw is good, and Carlton Reed completes the 3-point play. He's knocked down all 3 of his free throws. He has 7 points thus far, and it's a 26-22 Waterloo East lead, and that is their biggest lead of the ball game.
Well, what balance they have on the scoring, too. You don't know where it's coming from. I mean, they're within 3 or 4 points of each player, averaging almost 5 guys in double figures.
But gets it out of difficulty. The 3 by Ebert won't go. The rebound is taken down by Waterloo East. Reed inside finds McCoo.
There's East, what they like. Great transition game, super passes. Timeout.
And Waterloo East is on an 8-0 run, so Steve Bergman calls timeout. The score 28-22 in favor of Waterloo East. We'll be right back. 4:43 before halftime, and then Waterloo East on an 8-0 run. They lead Iowa City West 28-22.
East coming out, pressed them up. The more pressure they can put on them, the quicker they want West to shoot the ball, the more opportunities they have to run. So they're kind of a passive press, but just enough to make everybody handle the ball and not get set up quite as easily.
Steve Bergman taking the timeout, trying to get his team to get their poise back as they have been outscored 8 unanswered points. Baumgart getting it off in the corner to Warner. Wick's been the big scorer, but Ebert has been quiet thus far. From outside, the shot knocked down by Brett Baumgart. Baumgart with a 3, and that ends the 8-0 Waterloo East run.
Very good patience that time. Got the wide open look, and they can make those shots.
Waterloo East with the ball and a 3-point lead. The shot by Henderson is an air ball. The rebound is taken by Carl Warner.
Tough shot against defense right there. It's okay to shoot quick, but you got to be open.
Thus far, Waterloo East done a great job on Ebert. From outside, there's Wick. Nothing but net for Justin Wick. And he's got a 16-point first half.
He's just been outstanding.
Ties the ball game at 28, even for the 6th time.
Pretty good timeout, huh?
Yeah, I'd say so, because they've really responded from the timeout, and they have now a 6-point run underway, they being Iowa City West. And now we have a timeout with 3:37 left to play in the first half. The ball game tied for the 6th time at 28, and we'll be right back. With 3:37 left to play in the first half, a tie ball game, and you talk about the balance of this Waterloo East team, Jim. 5 different players have scored, all between 3 and 7 points. Great balance there.
Exactly, and that's the way they played all year, and that's why you have successful teams. You can't rely on one person. They can get anybody hot at any time.
Henderson looking to break down Iowa City West. This is Tremont Thomas, the backup point into the lane to knock it off the glass and down. And now that's the 6th player in the scoring column for Waterloo East, and they've got the lead.
You know, I think they're having success driving into the zone. That's where they can take advantage of their quickness. I think they'll have a lot of success if they're able to continue to do that. They can also pitch it out to the three-point shooters.
And East has now hit 11 of their 16 shots to start the ballgame. What a great start by Waterloo East, but they only lead by 2. Iowa City West with Ebert trying to get him on track, and it's a matter of really getting him shots. It's not that he hasn't shot the ball poorly. He hasn't had the shots. The shot won't go by Carl Warner, and the rebound is taken down by Waterloo East.
Well, that's what East wants West to do. They want more guys to shoot the ball, whereas in East, you know, there you go, anybody can shoot it, but with West, if they cannot limit the number of shots Ebert gets, that's going to be a good deal for East.
Cook misses the long 3, and Baumgart has the rebound loose on the court. Baumgart fighting for Iowa City West, and for East, a couple of Trojans are there trying to get the ball. One of them was Rashawn McGee. The other getting up off the deck from Thomas.
Oh, this guy, boy, you always got to watch and see if the other guy's looking before you throw the ball, and he couldn't bring it back. You could see him, he wanted to grab that ball in midair and bring it back, and a turnover.
Well, this ball game just as tight as the first game was. Steve McGraw's team lost in their home gym on that occasion, 64-62, but he feels his team much better now. Instead, on the other hand, Iowa City West came in a team of seniors. They had the experience age. Well, this ball game every bit as good as that one.
No question. You knew this was going to be a great game, and it has been a great game.
McCool loses on the baseline thanks to the defense of Justin Wick. So Wick will now inbound.
I think that was the 5th turnover for East. And with that zone, you don't get a lot of turnovers, but boy, it helps when you do, because that can convert to easy baskets at the other end.
West can tie the ball game with a 2 and grab the lead with a 3. 2 minutes before halftime.
Good job on defense. You notice that East really moves with the ball. In other words, the ball moves and the players move. Great play by Ebert.
Ebert got around Cook that time to score. Just his second basket is 6 points. Good baseline move against Jeremy Cook by James Ebert. The ball game is tied up at 30.
A powerful move in there. Great quickness and balance at the end.
At the baseline, it's Moses. Now Henderson will retool the offense for Waterloo East. 1.5 minutes left to play, first half. The pull-up by Cook. The tip-in is right there by Henderson, right in front of the basket to knock it back down.
Both Henderson and Moses got the inside position on that shot. They really worked hard to get that, and the ball fortunately came right to them. They were able to tip it in for a nice basket.
And make it Moses being credited with the tip-in, and that gives Waterloo East a 32-30 lead with a minute left to play in the first half.
I'm sure one thing Coach McGraw emphasized with his team, if Iowa City West plays the zone, there's no real blockout assignment, so you must go to the offensive glass and work hard at it.
You see the first half clock winding down inside 45 seconds as the drive to the glass is right there, and Wick continues to have a terrific first half. 18 first half points for Justin Wick. The ball game tied up at 32.
Wow, that was just a great basket.
He's making up for lost time. Didn't score against Muscatine. Again, the ankle injury really prevented him from seeing much playing time.
Well, he's making up for it today.
Yes, he is. Ebert with his second foul for Iowa City West, and with 31 seconds left to play in the first half, it will be Waterloo East basketball. The ball game tied at 32.
He'll take Ebert out now with 2 fouls and only 31 seconds to go. And it was really it wasn't a foul on the play as much as he put his hand on the player as he jumped up in the air, and the ref caught him.
Justin Harbert has come in to take the place of Ebert. Henderson finding Cook. Down to 21 seconds. You see the clock. Lower right-hand corner of your screen as the first half winds down. Ball game tied 32. Henderson into the paint to score.
Nice balanced move, good penetration. Came off a high pick and penetrated into the zone. 7 seconds, here we go.
A 2 will tie, a 3 would give Iowa City West the lead at intermission. The shot is short, and it will be a 2-point lead for Waterloo East at the half after Iowa City West unable to convert on their last possession. That's the end of the first half with the score. Waterloo East 34 and Iowa City West 32. We'll be back after this word from your local station. Welcome back to Veterans Auditorium. It's halftime of the 4A semifinal game and a tight ball game. Early, it was an Iowa City West 9-2 lead. Waterloo West went on a 12-2 run to catch them. The ball game wound up being tied 8 times in the first half, and right now it's a 2-point lead for Waterloo East at 34-32. Just a great first half.
Yeah, actually the game has kind of gone how both coaches wanted to go. East has been able to get away with shooting the ball pretty quickly because they've made so many. West has been patient, and they've made them. You got one guy having an 18-point game, which is phenomenal, but they're not up. They're behind with a guy getting 18 points in the first half.
Now, the one guy having an 18-point game is Justin Wick, considered somewhat questionable because of a bad ankle. In fact, he's had a rough week. He had the flu last week, came back to practice on Monday, and that's when he hurt the ankle. Really played very little against Muscatine in the quarterfinals. But right now, he has 18 points in a very tight ball game. Waterloo East with the lead at the break, 34-32. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in a moment after this pause for a station identification. Waterloo East with a 34-32 lead over Iowa City West here in the first 4A semifinal game. The game to follow, Sioux City East against Ankeny for the right to play for the state 4A championship tomorrow night here at Veterans Auditorium. And Jim, I don't know how we could have seen a much better first half than we did.
You know, we've seen a lot of games during the tournament where this was almost the final score. With
that's true.
Very poor shooting so far. Both teams are shooting great, 50% or better. At one time, East was shooting 65%, and so that makes everything look good. When the ball goes through the hole, all the plays look good, all the breaks look good, and yet you know both teams are good on defense. So it's really a great game when you can shoot 50% against this type of defense.
I'll go back to something you said earlier, and that's that both teams are executing their game plan, and yet neither's been able to establish an advantage. So 34-32, Waterloo East at the break. Let's go downstairs to Kevin Hall. Welcome back to the auditorium in Des Moines. Waterloo East leads Iowa City West by a pair, 34-32. Let's take a look at some first half highlights, and I think we have to start with Justin Wick, don't we? Because he was the first half highlight into himself in the first half.
He was unbelievable. First, he makes a long three, which kind of spreads his own a little bit, and you're thinking, well, geez, and then he starts getting that ball inside. He's done everything offensively. He has just been tremendous.
He's got the ball inside, too, at least this time off the tip by Moses.
Yeah, good inside position against the zone. That's what you try to do, move inside the zone defense and get the offensive rebound position.
Now, Ebert held to only 2 baskets in the first half. Here's a nice move for one of them.
Well, that's a tough shot. I mean, when you only get 2 baskets and that's one of them, there's no easy baskets out there for West.
And off the bench, big performance by Rian McCoo for Waterloo East.
Great catch there, had to do a 360 on full speed and get under control, and was able to do that and lay it in. It started at the other end with a turnover.
So both teams shot the ball exceedingly well. Both ran their offenses, and we have an outstanding ball game through the first 16 minutes of play.
These are the games you want to just keep going. You hate for them to end. They're just a pleasure to watch, and the coaches love watching them as well as the fans.
And we'll be back with the start of the second half of this one in just a moment. We are back at Veterans Auditorium, where in the first half of the 4A semifinal matchup between Waterloo East and Iowa City West, we had 8 ties, and right now it is Waterloo East with a 2-point lead. We take a look at the first half numbers.
Well, the numbers are, the thing that jumps out to me really is the rebounds. Waterloo East has been able to get 14 rebounds to City High's, or West, Iowa City West is 7, and that's created some easy baskets off offensive rebounds, and that's why their shooting percentage is probably 61% rather than 45%. Other than that, it's pretty darn even. It's just been a very well-played game. Both teams shooting in the 50 to 60% range. Free throws haven't been a lot of them, but they've made them. It's just been a very good game.
You know, one figure that stands out with me is the team shot so well. There really were no second chance baskets for the most part. Each team had just 1 offensive rebound. You know the shooting probably won't be as good, and I have a feeling the team that comes up with a better number of offensive rebounds will come out with a win here today.
Well, of course, offensive rebounds have to come after missed shots, and the way they shot in the first half, there weren't a lot of them. But I think you're right. I think the other thing that's going to happen is which team is going to have to veer away from the way they want to play. And that's going to determine maybe how the game goes in the second half. But I don't think that's going to happen for a while. These are 2 good teams.
Steve McGraw has won a lot, 24th all-time, winning as coach in the state of Iowa. And among active coaches, he is number 6 on the list with those 474 victories. And Steve Bergman, who of course comes from a great coaching family. His Uncle Bud, the Hall of Fame coach. He has done a great job himself, 254 victories and a pair of state titles. Dressed in white, it is Iowa City West with the basketball to begin the second half. They work it right inside to Wick. He takes it right to the rack, scores his 20th point, and will go to the line.
Now, this kid is not 240 pounds. He's 6'6", 170 pounds, and he is so tough in there.
One, gentlemen, here we go.
And
Good
coming
body
over
control.
to commit the foul was Carlton Reed. So the ball game tied up for the 9th time, and now Wick tries to unknot it. And can't do that, and going high for the rebound is Milan Moses for Waterloo East. This is Carlton Reed. Now Mike Henderson, who in one more year of high school ball will then become a Cyclone, having committed to Larry Eustachy's program.
I mean, most of the time when kids come in early like that, they really take a lot of responsibility being the best player and best person they can be, because they know they're representing the high school and the college.
Nice move by Reed to get clear and score for Waterloo East, and they go back into the lead at 36-34.
A little more patience that time on East. Moved the ball around, 5-6 passes, and came up with a nice shot.
This is Baumgart. Avoids the steal attempt by Henderson. Ebert has it batted away by Cook, and here comes Waterloo East trying to add to their 2-point lead. And deep, it's Moses. Moses misses the shot, got shoved.
Boy, nice defense down there by Cook. He got that ball cleanly out of Ebert's hand just as he was going up for the shot. That's a good defensive play, and he didn't foul either.
Baumgart with his second foul. Milan Moses will go to the line for Waterloo East. The Trojans in the first half perfect in 6 free throw attempts. Make it 7 out of 7 for Waterloo East from the line.
A lot different looking team than when they came in here last year as freshmen and sophomores.
They have grown up, haven't they?
Have grown
They're
up
still so young.
Physically and maturity-wise, too. They really play with a great sense about the game.
Moses knocks them both down, and Waterloo East has a 4-point lead at 38-34. Waterloo East at 21-3, Iowa City West 24-0. Trying to become the first 4A team to rub the table since Mason City and Dean Oliver did it in '97. Almost a good steal by Sean McGee, but then he runs out of real estate and loses it back, and it will be Iowa City West basketball. Steve Bergman will make a lineup change, and coming in is Jordan Bontrager, a 5'11 sophomore, one of the few underclass players that sees a lot of playing time, and he'll replace Carl Warner. Bontrager's uncle Steve played on a state championship team at Iowa City West along with Steve Waite. Goes back a while, doesn't it? Back to 1977.
But if you're a sophomore playing at West, you do a good job though.
Wick in deep. He misses the shot, and the battle for the rebound. Wick on the floor, still able to control the rebound momentarily, but finally Henderson comes out with it for Waterloo East. They've got the breakaway. Henderson on the baseline trying to find McGee, couldn't find him, but Cook, the trailer, hit the shot.
That looked like a handoff to a tailback in the line, and the defensive end was chasing from behind and tackled him. A lot of action on this play. This ball just came up to him, and good job by, that just shows you on the break, run. Even if you're not the primary receiver, run, because there was a loose ball, and by hustling, Cook was able to get a good basket for him.
Justin Wick gets the foul. Cook looks for his 9th point and tries to give his team a 7-point lead, and does. 41-34. Waterloo East has their biggest lead with 6:15 to go in the 3rd period. Iowa City West, a team that has not really been behind too many times all year, and in fact only 6 of their games have the opponents finished within 10 points of Iowa City West. Ebert for 3, right there.
That's a tough shot, because he gets open, and he's so open, nobody's around him, and he hasn't had many shots. Great concentration to put that one down.
Inside 6 minutes, 3rd period, the drive by Henderson. Can't finish, but the tip is right there.
Again, penetration causes help. Help loses block-out responsibility, and McGee was able to get in there and tip the ball in.
First basket by Sean McGee on that tip in, and it's a 43-37 6-point lead for Waterloo East as they play defense. Rick now paired off with McGee, and off the ball there's contact.
Oh, great penetration. Ebert gets a great look at it, and boy, I'll tell you what, I didn't see any rim touched on that one right there.
Mike Henderson off the ball, committing the foul for Waterloo East. That is his first foul. So Iowa City West down by 6 with the basketball, left open for the 3 to knock it down, and it turned out to be a mistake to leave him open. was Chris Saylor. He's the guy you think you don't have to guard because he's really not an offensive player, and yet he got 10 against City High in the sub-state when they didn't guard him. So yes, you've got to pay some attention to the defensive specialist, Chris Saylor.
I haven't seen anybody on West team that can't shoot.
Boy, that is true. Coming up with a loose basketball is Ebert. Iowa City West within 3, trying to drive is Ebert, and the ball knocked out of bounds, and it belongs to Iowa City West.
Good play by Bontrager there. Boy, he dove out of bounds and saved the ball and knocked it off the other player. That was a tough play.
Brian McCoo into the lineup for Waterloo East, and he will replace Milan Moses.
All right, ready, man? Here we go. Ball.
McCoo in the first half, 6 points and a couple of rebounds.
Hands off now.
A 3-point deficit for Iowa City West as they try to score on this possession. Bontrager with the ball. Now left open is Baumgart. The air ball, and the rebound is pulled down by Krishan McGee. Going in deep is McCoo. Lost it, and the rebound is taken away by Chris Saylor. Saylor leads the break the other way. Here's Wick trying to finish, and it's knocked out of bounds by McGee.
Good play by McGee. It looked like it might be a foul, but he was able to knock the ball away cleanly. Fast break by both teams. You may not see too much of that today.
Absolutely. So a third chance for Iowa City West to cut the 3-point Waterloo East lead. The first to change. Tremont Thomas will come in to run the point, replacing Mike Henderson.
Well, tried to lob pass and just didn't get it deep enough.
And coming up with the ball is McCoo. Thomas gets it in deep to Cook, scores on the fires off the baseline and misses, but right there to clean it up is McCoo. You know, we talked about those offensive rebounds, couple of putback baskets here in the second half, and it's a 45-40 lead for Waterloo East.
And those baskets have been a direct result of West turnovers. They've had 3 this half and hardly had that many the first half. And we're just 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. So good defense by East here, causing some problems.
Baumgart working against Thomas, gets inside Thomas. There's Ebert being watched by McGee. And
Another
McGee with a
turnover.
takeaway.
That's 4 turnovers in 4 minutes. In the first half, they only had 2.
That's the difference right now. That's why Waterloo East has got a 5-point lead in the ball. At half, it was a 2-point Waterloo East lead.
And you know, some of those have been unforced turnovers, too. That's a little not the way West usually does it.
Good feed on the baseline to McGee from Carlton Reed. And McGee with 2 baskets here in the third quarter. And it's a 7-point lead for Waterloo East. And we have a timeout with 3:26 left to play in the ball game's third quarter. We'll be right back. Waterloo East with a 47-40 lead. The last basket, this one by Sean McGee.
And they're coming off those turnovers. You know, that's I think our statistician here has got East for 28 points in the paint. Of course, a lot of those are on a fast break. After a turnover, a layup is a basket in the paint.
Waterloo East has had such great balance, Jim, because if you look at the points in the paint, you see that 5 of the Waterloo East players have between 7 and 9 points. You don't get better balance than that. Outside, Bontrager being guarded by Cook, and Cook with a foul.
Well, the last time Coach Bergman called a timeout, they were able to score 6 straight points and get right back in the game. Let's see if he had another 6-point play they can run like they did in the first half.
Both teams have had their biggest leads of 7. For Iowa City West, it came early at 9-2. And for Waterloo West, 2 7-point leads here in the, rather I should say for Waterloo East, 2 7-point leads here in the third period, which now has 3 minutes left in it. West with the basketball, down by 7. Baumgart drawing the attention of Cook. Ebert able to kick it back outside, and again, West will be patient. That's Wick, vital up in the corner by McGee. 2:40 left in the third period. Ebert has it poked away by McGee. It'll be West basketball. First a change by Steve McGraw for East. Carlton Reed will come back into the lineup, a 2-year starter for Waterloo East, though he is only a sophomore. He'll replace Jeremy Cook.
Both teams extremely focused, but you know, as these guys come in and out, it doesn't make any difference. They support each other. They really have a sense of what they're trying to do here.
Here's Ebert, number 2 all-time scorer in West history, behind Glenn Worley on the miss. Trying to go back with the putback is Saylor, and he gets fouled and will go to the line.
Tough shot right there. Don't know if you had to foul that one. They did such a good job on defense.
Mylan Moses committing the foul, his second foul. Fourth team foul on East here in the second half. West has committed 2. Here's Saylor hit a big 3 a few minutes ago here in this third period, misfiring on the free throw. Only a 54% free throw shooter.
Yeah, he stepped away from the line as the ball was going up. You got to hang in there and keep your balance. If you fall away, you're usually short.
Carl Warner back in for West, and Mike Henderson back in for East. One more for Saylor, a 6'2 senior.
Oop, missed them both.
More of a defensive player, but he did hit a big 3 in this one, and the rebound is taken down by Prashawn McGee. He averages a team best 8 rebounds for Waterloo East and has done a good job on the glass this afternoon. We reached the 2-minute mark in the third period with a 47-40 lead enjoyed by Waterloo East. That's the team with the basketball as you look from the top of Veterans Auditorium to see how they have spread the offense.
I think you get the sense with East this year that last year they probably were limited in the number of ways they could play. This year they can play fast, they can play slow. I don't know what that call was. He called palming the ball?
I didn't catch the indication. It might have been the 5 seconds not advancing the ball.
Sure.
Now we have a timeout. 1:47 left to play, third period. Waterloo East enjoys their biggest lead, 47-40 over Iowa City West. We'll return in a moment. With Jim Hallahan and Kevin Hall, Larry Morgan back at Veterans Auditorium where Waterloo East leads Iowa City West 47-40. Nobody's scored in the last 90 seconds, and Iowa City West trying to do something about that on this possession following a timeout. Ebert, a good guy for them to get open, but this time he's bottled up by Henderson, who's doing a nice job on him defensively.
They know where Ebert is. They keep an eye out for him.
Baumgart, now he finds Ebert behind the three-point line. And you're right, they've changed the players who've defended him. It's always somebody, so he's always going against the first guy. That time it doesn't matter, as that time he beats Moses to the spot and scores the basket.
That's a tough shot there because there was no opening there, and he created one.
And so it's a 5-point lead for East as they possess the ball with 1:05 left to play in the third period. James Ebert now with 11 points. Henderson does so many things. You can see why Cyclone fans are excited about him. Inside or taking it to the rack, he is an offensive threat.
Yeah, he always plays under control. That's what I like about him. Sometimes you can be too fast or too quick, but if you don't have control, it doesn't work. And boy, he stays under control nicely.
40 seconds to go in the third quarter. West down by 7 with the ball. Baumgart feeds Wick. Wick pass to the lane and gets fouled. And Clint gets tied up. Jump ball call. That time he brought it down, got tied up.
Got it to him. The first half he was able to convert and score on these. This time the defense collapsed and gets to him. 5 turnovers in this half for Iowa City West.
A 2-point ball game at the half, but because of the West turnovers and because East has done a good job on the boards, they have held the lead throughout the third period. We are down to the final 20 seconds of quarter number 3. Going for the steal is Carl Warner. Instead, he gets the foul, and Warner with a second foul will send East to the line, and you don't want to do that because East is a team that has actually won't go to the line in this situation because they're not in the bonus, but East hasn't missed a free throw yet today.
Actually, that was Justin Wick, and I thought he did a great job on defense out there. He really got after it, called a foul. I hate to see aggressive defense get punished by a foul, but the ref saw it, he's got to call it.
You're right, and it's the second foul on Wick. McGee maybe got a little too open that time in the baseline. Looked around for the defense to come after him, and they didn't, and that may have caused the walk. So 49-42, East with the lead, West with the ball, 11.5 seconds to play, third quarter. Baumgart looks for Ebert. Ebert's the one they want with the ball. He stops, pops, and doesn't get the bounce. And that's the end of the third quarter with the score. Waterloo East 49 and Iowa City West 42. We'll be back after this word from your local station. Fourth quarter begins in the 4A semifinal, the first of 2 this afternoon, with Sioux City East and Ankeny to follow. East leads throughout the third period, and they take a 7-point lead as the fourth quarter begins, and it's Iowa City West with the basketball. They were outscored by Waterloo East 15-10 in the third quarter.
Now that was another good quarter for East, and Justin Wick kind of course, when you get 18 points and a half, it's hard to keep it up, but he only had 2 points that quarter, and their 2 guys are going to have to get some more buckets. There's a good drive.
Ebert trying for the block. McGee on the foul, his third.
Block 4.
I have a feeling that Ebert is going to find a way to score. He hasn't been open on the outside, and he's just going to have to try to drive into their defense and make a play.
He is a gifted free throw shooter, 83% on the season, 2 of 2 this afternoon. The free throw is not good. James Ebert last year, a pretty good player, and in March a year ago, Steve Bergman said, if we're going to go to state, you're going to have to work a lot harder and get a lot better. He spent the summer doing just that, and now he will leave as one of the outstanding players in the history of Iowa City West. But he misfires on 2 free throws. That is very rare for an 83% shooter. They are now just 7 of 13 from the foul line, so Steve Bergman can look at that stat and say if the free throws were going down, this ball game would be even. As it is, East leading by 7. Henderson tries to add to it and can't, and Wicks got the rebound for Iowa City West.
Great drive, but he took his eye off the goal right at the end.
Waterloo East continues their incredible shooting for the ball game. From the top, Wick with a miss. Trying to run down the rebound, Baumgart. He and Reed battle for it, and they rule that Reed touched it last, and so Baumgart will inbound, or instead it will be Saylor to inbound for Iowa City West. West had 40 points at the 4:08 mark, Jim, so they've gone a stretch of 5 minutes only scoring 2 points.
Yeah, and that's not, that's not like them. They're patient, but they score consistently, and they just haven't been able to get the ball in the hole and miss free throws too.
You're right, that is not their game. They're a 75% free throw shooting team.
Yeah, no, 50% field goal percentage shooting team. So they've got to zero in on the basket here, and they can still be patient. There's plenty of time.
Oh, plenty of time. Still 6:45 left in regulation. Ebert against Henderson. Baumgart for 3. The rebound is scooped up by Moses. Long baseline feed to Cook.
Nice job by Cook, not forcing it. The numbers weren't there, and he threw the ball back out on top. Henderson, good job.
Steve McGraw has got to be thrilled with the offensive execution today, doesn't he?
Just anybody when you shoot that well, that's great.
Well, you shoot that well. Not only do you shoot that well, but you have the balance that well. Right. And right now he wants to talk to his basketball team. So East High will use the timeout with 6:18 the play in the 4th quarter. And they hold a 49-42 lead over Iowa City West. And so we keep the action right here at Veterans Auditorium. Now, if you're Steve Bergman, what are you telling your ball club right now on the West bench?
Well, number one, they're probably not used to being in this position, so he's just got to reaffirm, hey, we're fine. You've not made some free throws. If we made our free throws, we'd be right in the game. You got to do a better job rebounding the ball and continue to move it to get the good open shot, and we'll make those shots. We're a good shooting team.
Let's see what he has to say.
Now, down there, you got to start a count, okay? You got to start a count. All right, hey, let's take our floater here.
Now, apparently our sideline mic isn't working right now, so we don't actually hear what Steve Bergman has to say. And since I can't read lips, I'll just have to assume that what you said was correct.
We'll just have to go with that.
Steve Bergman has won state tournaments in the even-numbered years in '98 and in 2000. He's hoping 2002 would be the trifecta, but right now his team is down by 7 with 6:18 to play. Sean McGee to inbound.
This is important, a minute or two right here. If East can extend its lead, boy, they're going to make West change the way they play. If not, West needs to make a mini run here. Oh, there's a great drive.
Nice two-man game, McGee and Henderson gets fouled as he takes it to the rack. So Mike Henderson will go to the line. Let's get another look.
Whew. Took a pretty good lick there. Good help, but just a little late, and they foul him rather than get in position to take the charge.
Wick gets his money's worth on foul number 3. Henderson to the line. Free throw is good. Henderson 3 of 3 from the line in the ball game, and now Waterloo East continues to have not missed a free throw today.
Well, I'll tell you, that's so big in games like this. I mean, that's a free shot. If you make them, boy, it's like the three-pointer gives you extra points.
And he's now 11 of 11 from the line, and they have their biggest lead of the ball game. They are up by 9 points, just under 6 minutes remaining.
And West is not getting the ball to the people they want to get it to for the shot.
Offensive foul on Saylor. Chris Saylor with his 3rd foul.
This is a good East basketball team, taking nothing away from West, but boy, I tell you, this is a good team.
Whew. The Offensive foul right there, as ducking his shoulder was Chris Saylor. Tremont Thomas back into the lineup for Waterloo East. They're trying to advance to the championship game against the winner of the game coming up between Sioux City East and Ankeny. They've got their biggest lead of 9 and the ball, trying to make it double digits. Henderson finds McGee. McGee can't hang on. That pass came awfully quick. Though McGee has seen those kind of quick passes from Henderson. That one a little too much steam on it.
Yeah, and yet that's what West wanted. They went and pressed, and they got him running. Now you take the chance. Can he make the play or turn it over? And they got a turnover that time. That's 7 turnovers for Waterloo East.
Carl Warner, number 22, along the back line, along with Rhett Baumgart. For West. In the corner, it's Ebert for 3. Got it.
Boy, he doesn't need much room, does he?
No, he doesn't. 14 points for James Ebert. And it's a 6-point ball game, 51-45. Waterloo East with the edge, just over 5 minutes to play.
What separates Ebert from the other guys I've seen in the tournament to shoot well is he shoots it so quickly. It is in his hands and gone.
Reed trying to break down Baumgart.
Almost a steal. Almost a travel.
Back outside Thomas. So again, Waterloo East showing some nice patience today.
Oh, back cut. Almost got him. Good recovery by West that time. It looked like they were going to have a... Whoa, man.
Warner on the deflection. The finish by Ebert. And Iowa City West is right back in this one. 51-48, a 3-point ball game. Ebert suddenly catches fire.
Yeah, this is the earlier 3-pointer. And now he feels it, and he's going to... I'll tell you what, that's why you put so much pressure on him. He's just a great shooter. But look how quick it comes off of him. Man, that is nice right there.
He's got 17 points, has hit 6 of his 12 field goal tries, and with those back-to-back threes has brought West right back into this ball game with 4:37 to play.
Well, that's what they expect from him. He's averaged almost 22 points a game. Got off to a slow start, but it looks like he's picked it up, and he has to do that. For them to have a chance to come back and win, there's no question James Ebert has to have a big last 4 minutes and 37 seconds.
Well, you know, we gave those shooting statistics, hitting right at 50%. It's not that Ebert, who got 31 the other day against Muscatine, it's not that he hasn't shot the ball well. It's the fact they maybe haven't gotten as many touches as they would like. That will certainly change in the final 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, in the first half, I think he had 6 shots, and that's not many.
And probably Steve Bergman would tell you not enough.
Exactly.
Tremont Thomas works at the top against the defensive presence of Saylor, who's an outstanding defensive player. This is the talented sophomore, Carlton Reed. Reed sees an opening, tries to take it, and it's knocked out of bounds by Saylor. We talked about Saylor's defensive prowess. He showed you right there.
Yeah, East has to decide what do they want to do with 4 minutes to go. Are they going to change the tempo and try to hold the ball and spread it out, or do they continue to play? And with the 3-point lead, that's a tough decision right now.
Rylan Moses, who's already committed to Iowa State to play football, though he has a year left in high school, comes into the lineup for Waterloo East. He's number 3.
Now, East has had a few times to turn it over. They've had 5 turnovers this half. Kind of a game of spurts.
It has been that, as so many games are. Baumgart at the top.
Ooh, good pick on the baseline.
West spreads, the shot taken by Saylor. And again, not an offensive threat, but if you don't guard him, he'll burn you. And that's the second 3 that he's hit in the second half. He ties it at 51.
What a great comeback. It looked like they were out of it. And man, they came back and made 3 3-pointers.
It's a 9-point run on 3 threes, 2 by Ebert, 1 by Saylor, for Iowa City West to tie it at 51. Now the question is, can this young East team that has seen a 9-point lead evaporate regain some poise?
Well, I think they can, but the difference is West is coming out on them now. They're not playing, you know, as back in the lanes. They're playing some man-to-man, so they got to adjust from playing against zone now to play against this man.
Henderson giving it up to Cook on the baseline. The shot is there.
Great play. Caught it, didn't put it on the floor, turned and laid it in.
And McGee with his 6th point of the ball game, and it's a 2-point lead for East at 53-51.
It's almost like been 2 heavyweight fighters feeling each other out. Now it's the last round, and they're going at it.
Yes, here we go. You're right. The fur is flying now.
Oh.
Baumgart calls a timeout.
Woo, and whoa, wide open underneath the basket was Chris Saylor. Just as he called that timeout, he was wide open, but he didn't see him.
Well, I think Baumgart was so well covered up. You're right. He was in no position to see him whatsoever. Steve Bergman gathering his team together As you see, Waterloo West coming back from 9 down. Steve McGraw talking to his basketball team. A team that has seen a 9-point lead evaporate, but now they've got a lead of 2 at 53-51 with 2:45 remaining.
Well, that was just a great run by West right there. That was one heck of a run to get back and get tied, and now they're 2 points down again. But it completely changes the complexion of the game. Now, boy, the intensity steps up. The pressure's more on because it's a close game. This is going to be exciting.
And so now the question is Bergman's senior group good enough to retain the poise against a younger team? But they've also been to state last year, so they're pretty well seasoned here at state. That'll be one question down the stretch.
Well, East has his defense extended all the way to midcourt now.
Baumgart works the left side.
Need to work Justin Wick back inside where he had so much success early in the game, finding those holes. They just don't seem to be there right now.
This is where you might like a team that's patient.
Yes. No urgency here.
2:10 remains. A 2-point deficit for the team of the ball West. Almost a turnover. Is it a turnover? No, it'll be a jump ball, and the possession arrow will give it to Waterloo East with 2:03 to play.
Good pressure by East. The defense on the ball handler made him pass the ball underneath his teammate's legs. It just wasn't a good pass.
And that nice effort defensively by Jeremy Cook to get the jump ball, the 9th turnover for Iowa City West. And now the discussion over the possession arrow.
That's right, Berg, this way. Yeah, you had the ball at halftime.
Does in fact belong to Waterloo West, and it does. You saw Rod Hill, who's the official, working along with Tim McCann, straightening that out. Points in the paint have certainly favored Waterloo East today.
All that stuff goes away now, though. All the statistics are meaningless. Now it's a 2-minute game and a 2-point game.
And a 2-point lead for the team in possession of the ball with 1:55 to play. Henderson all the way, trying to take the charge, and doing so for West was Saylor. He got Henderson on the charge. Good play by Chris Saylor, who's really stepped up big in this ball game.
Right, this is one of the few times Henderson didn't quite get under control, and it cost him a possession.
How about Saylor? A couple of big threes when they don't guard him. Takes a big charge there, a big defensive play on the baseline a moment ago. He has really made a difference down the stretch for West in their comeback.
Well, just because guys don't average many points, it doesn't mean they're not very, very valuable to an undefeated team. Obviously, they do a lot of things right, and there's one of the things right there. Step out, help, get the charge.
West ties it with the 2, takes the lead with the 3, 1:40 to play.
Got it in. There it is.
There's Wick on the feet from Saylor.
Nice pass by Saylor.
The ball game tied on the 22nd point by Justin Wick. It's even at 53.
Under a minute and a half to go.
Both coaches have timeouts to use. The possession arrow favors Iowa City West. They try to get the ball on the baseline, but a foul called away.
Called him for pushing off. Did a pretty good job on defense, but just got his other hand on the offensive player and caught him for that. Might have saved him a basket, though.
Wick with his 4th foul. Another concern for Steve Bergman. As far as the team fouls go, 6 on both teams, so both teams shooting bonus on the next. McGee looking for Henderson, nearly intercepted by Ebert. Tie ball game, 1:12 to play. You don't think East is going to play for the last shot, do you, Jim?
Well, it gets under a minute. There's no hurry then. You might as well. I think they're comfortable doing that.
Cook with the ball. This is McGee. Inside a minute. Tie ball game.
Oh, boy, they were lucky there. Wow. McGee threw the ball, and Cook had already cut through, and he quit looking for it. It hit him and hit another player before it went out.
Ooh, right off the face.
Yeah, lucky play that they get the ball back. Whoa, that's a break right there.
It certainly is. So we have a timeout with 51.7 seconds remaining. Last time these two teams played, back in December, a 2-point ball game. West won it at East. Well, we have another ball game that will again be decided at least in the 31st minute of the ball game, if not in overtime.
You know, the other thing, Iowa City West only has 1 timeout. Coach Bergman had to use some early. That could be a factor down here, depending on who scores. You'd like to have at least 2 timeouts in that last minute in case you have to stop the clock, advance the ball, and stop it again.
Hey, if we get it back, you know what to do. If it's under a minute, we're going 1 shot. Yeah, we can do that. Or,
Listen.
Hey,
If you have trouble getting in the triangle,
on ball for him.
Steve Bergman, Randy Larson on the Iowa City West bench. 51.7 to play. 53 all. Possession arrow goes to West if there's a tie ball. It's East with the basketball.
They get it in. That's big. Oh,
They
he's
go
got
right
a
down
good
to
shot.
McGee. He scores, and he's fouled. And I believe it was rookie foul, and if so, he would be out of the ball game.
That's
Let's check
huge.
the foul. Prashawn McGee got the inbound speed. He inbounded. He stepped right back in and gets the shot down.
Nice play. Nice out of bounds play. Good job.
And it is number 5 on Justin Wick, who fouls out with 22 points. What a great way to wrap up his Iowa City West career from an individual standpoint. And actually, this isn't the wrap-up because
Right.
he has at least a consolation game.
Well, we'll see if this good free throw shooting continues. McGee, big guy, 71% free throw shooter. That's outstanding for a 6'6" kid.
He has not been there today. All 8 of his points have come in the second half. His team leads by 3 as he completes the three-point play. 56-53. East with the lead. West with the basketball. 42 seconds to go.
They either need a 3 or they got to take it to the basket and score quickly.
Ebert stops and pops a 3 that would have tied it. And the struggle
Jump
for the
ball
rebound and a jump
goes
ball
to
falls.
West.
Cook battling for the jump ball along with Baumgart. They crash to the floor, and the possession arrow, as you see it, as Jim told you, favors Iowa City West. So they need a 3 or a quick 2 and a good defensive stop.
I tell you what, they went after that loose ball.
I guess
there were
they
guys
did.
flying parallel to the floor to get to that loose ball, and they were about 3 foot off the floor doing it.
And the game was on the line. Inbounding will be Baumgart. Now watch number 14, Ebert, especially with Wick out of the ball game. He's the man they would like to have the ball in his hands. Right now he's camped in the middle of the lane.
Yep, they switched out on him. In fact, they stayed with him.
Ball knocked out of bounds by Cook on the pass for Saylor. 32.6 left, a 3-point lead for the team playing defense, Waterloo East.
Well, he's open at the 3.
The 3 is there by Ben Nichols to
High
tie
game.
the ball game. Even at 56
seconds.
with 26 seconds to play.
Wow, what a shot.
Now Waterloo East will no doubt play for the last shot here. You see the clock.
You feel like Henderson's going to be the guy that goes in there and penetrates.
And off the ball, Saylor bumping against McGee. And so for Sean McGee, who a moment ago knocked down a 3-point play and hit a crucial free throw. Battling with Saylor, and Saylor with his 4th foul.
That's too bad.
McGee, a 6'6", 215-pound junior, his 3-point play, a big play for Waterloo East. It gave them the short-lived lead prior to the 3 by Nichols that tied it up. 7.9 seconds to play, so lots of strategy to cover here for both ball clubs, because what if he makes 1? What if he makes 2? It doesn't really change things, though, too much. Still plenty of time left. Let's listen to Steve Bergman.
Look, 1-1. We got to get some rebounds. All 5 of you on the board. Now, if it goes in, get it into one of these 2. If it goes in, you get down, get open. Just 7 seconds. We can make something happen. Don't shoot it early. Take it at somebody.
They knew that was a cheap foul. Give you a call here.
Box out. Pitch no.
By the way, we are not able to go into the Waterloo East huddle. That's why we're spending our time with Steve Bergman in the Iowa City West huddle. You take a look at the timeouts remaining. West has none. Steve McGraw for Waterloo East has 3. Waterloo now has the possession arrow. McGee a moment ago, a big play. Now can he do it again with the ball game tied at 56? 71% free throw shooter. Knocks it down. East by 1.
Well, West is going to get the ball back and be behind, but with 7.9 seconds, you can get a good shot.
Yeah, that's a lot of time. It's a 1-point ball game. They only needed 2 to win it. West with the ball, down by 2. The shot by Baumgart won't go. Big rebound by McGee, and it is over. And Waterloo East advances to the finals in 4A. Baumgart took the shot. Krishan McGee stepped up huge in the last 2 minutes for Waterloo East.
Well, they kept their composure this year. The big run came upon them. They handled it. That shows the maturity of that team. It was a great win for Coach McGraw and Waterloo East. Congratulations.
Especially a great win for Steve McGraw over a team that has not been defeated this year. You see the pain they feel having dropped their first win of the year after winning their first 24.
It always is tough when a big game like this happens and some good team has to lose, but great game by both teams.
And so, that's the end of the game with the score. Waterloo East 57, Iowa City West 56. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment. Waterloo East advances to the finals in 4A with a 57-56 win over Iowa City West. Let's go down to Kevin Hall for our Fairway Fan in the Stands.
All right, it's time for another Fairway Fan in the Stand segment. What a basketball game that was. We're here in the Waterloo East cheering section with the parents of Waterloo East player Mylan Moses. And I saw you jumping around during that game. Some tense moments in that game.
Yes, it was. I tell you, they both played really hard. I mean, it was a beautiful game, and I'm just thank God that we did win. When I prayed, may the best man win. And so East High won.
You can tell she's a little hoarse. She's been screaming a lot during this game. Thank you for being our Fairway Fan of the Stands. We have a nice gift bag here for you, courtesy of Fairway. Thank you very much, Mr. Moses. You had to be proud of your son.
Oh, we are. They all played a great game today. I tell you, it's really welcome to Waterloo. Thank you.
All right, Waterloo East heading to the championship. That's another Fairway Fan in the Stand segment. Back to you guys.
And there's a guy who knows something about winning athletics, Jerry Moses, the father of Mylan Moses.
What a great family, what a great athletes, and what neat people, too.
And Steve McGraw, the sixth active winningest coach in the state of Iowa, notches number 475 and now has a chance at a state championship.
Well, that game was everything we thought it would be. It was just a great game.
It really was.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, anytime they're not decided until that late. Down the stretch for Sean McGee, the last 4 points and the key rebound for Waterloo East. He really stepped up big, and two men who respect each other and have competed often. Bergman and McGraw greet each other.
Did Waterloo West ever miss a free throw?
No, they wound up the ball game, or they missed one, excuse me, they missed one. That last one by McGee, remember the last one?
That's right, and you know what? That wasn't bad because it started the clock a little sooner. If you score, the clock doesn't start till the ball is actually inbounded, and that actually helped them out, forcing Iowa City West into a little earlier shot than they wanted, and they did not get it to Eber.
But of course you would never intentionally miss that because then you get beat by it too. But you're right, it did happen to work out well. So they hit their first 12, I believe, before missing their 13th and final one. A team that had not really shot well at the line this year, 64%, but they certainly did well here. So the first 4A finalist is Waterloo East with a 57-56 win over Iowa City West on the free throw by Krishan McGee. We'll be back in a moment after this pause for station identification.